You know, we're building resilience to drugs and alcohol. We're figuring out ways to navigate. You know, there's got to be.
As a collective, we're something bigger than ourselves, and we're feeling connected. We're all a part of the Power Cats.
When I started Power New, I said that I was an ex-addict. I had something to offer, and a lot of people didn't want to borrow me. They're like, no thanks. Ex-addict, only been clean a few months. Fucking no thank you. I feel really grateful that I've been so supported and loved and, and given opportunities that a lot of people just don't get.
As a little boy, he was the most docile, loving little boy that you could imagine. He was beautiful.
Mum, obviously, she's just loved me. She's always told me that I had so much to offer. She's always said that, how much of a good person I am and, don't give too much of yourself away. She's always been, really, really staunch supporter of me as well. That time of my life, I was going through, those transformations as kids do at that age. So I was short, fat, had pimples, braces, this peroxided hair because my older sister was a hairdresser, trying all these new things, and these big black eyebrows and, I was bullied pretty badly. I can just remember like an anger building up in me, where like I said, I've always been a nice kid, trying to be everyone's friend and try to, make everyone happy. But I could just feel a change in me. And then obviously with the acne and stuff as well, I was put on a tablet to get rid of these pimples, and sort of at that time I would have done anything to get rid of them. When you're going through those transformative years, when you're trying to find your place in the thing, you're being bullied, this pain on my face every day, it was just horrible. So I started taking this tablet and I started to become really, really depressed. I started to become withdrawn, and I just felt even more of a change in myself. I was sad all the time, so for me, I just didn't want the party to end. I didn't want to have to be alone, because then I was actually stuck and had to address what was actually going on for me, and it was painful. It was, I was severely depressed, and without even knowing it, because of this tablet. Drugs were one constant that may help me escape from what was going on for me. I went from dope to harder drugs. At the age of 16, I was, wheeling and dealing drugs. People like to be around me, but for me, it was because I was constantly seeking validation, so, I was being the clown. I was constantly doing things that were, get me in the shit with police, fighting, this, that, all the rest of it, where I didn't care because, I felt a part of something, and drugs were just a massive escape for me. But again, underlying was, all these unresolved challenges, and my insecurities that weren't being addressed. They're straight, my parents. So to be walking in feeling the amount of shame that I'd felt, and I was feeling shame the whole time. I was guilt stricken. I was feeling so much shame, but I didn't know how to get out of it because I didn't actually know what was going on for me. I didn't know that I was an addict. To live in that kind of world and do those kinds of things, I completely lost myself. I've done so many things that I'm not proud of, but. Again, it was all seeking validation, to the point where, it put me in a position where, that I nearly ultimately lost my life, like, a couple of times, really, really scary situations.
Yeah, it was very heartbreaking as a mum, because the thing was, there was nothing you could do to help him, because he needed to make that choice for himself.
And then I started working for another guy, and literally, he pulled me into his office and he sat me there, and I was told that I was going to be fed to the crocodiles. They thought I was a cop. like, how do you know this person? How do you know that person? You know, there was guns there, all this kind of stuff. I was, it was completely, terrified. I was thinking, far out, like, what have I got myself into? I thought I was just having a good time. I was so scared that something was going to happen to my family and I couldn't live with myself. And, and then that was when I decided that I was going to take my own life. So I ended up, I ended up injecting myself with, half a gram of ice. I took, I don't know, like 100 different tablets, hoping that my heart would stop. I wrote my mum a suicide note, and I was severely mentally ill, and the drugs were just an extension of, that person that I'd become because my my self-worth and like who I thought that I was and who I thought that I needed to be were so far apart from who I actually am, and I wasn't able to, I didn't feel that there was a light at the end of that tunnel. So I thought, again, if I can't be me, like, I'd prefer to be dead. But the reality is I was helping the wrong people for the wrong reasons. That was the hardest one, writing mum a letter to say sorry, of everything that I'd put her through. Like, I cried for days and days and just sort of released. And that's, like I said, being guilt-stricken and, feeling shame are two things that I wish, wouldn't wish, upon anyone, because it's a horrible, horrible place to be.
Everything's just a big blur with from the time Kane started. I can't remember everything the way that it happened because it was just so traumatic at the time, and I put a lot of it behind me. It was just a horrible time for all of us.
Trying to get help, it was all too hard. I'd go to the doctors, I'd get put on a waiting list, someone will call you, and it's just like, you only have a small window, when you've built up the courage to ask for that help. Then it wasn't until just one day, like a girl said to me, she's like, you need to pull your fucking head in, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, doing this shit, rah rah. And I knew deep down, but like, I never had anybody say it to me like that, and that was on May the 4th, 2015. If somebody's built up the courage to ask for help now, they need help now. They don't need to be put on a waiting list, for 2 weeks. And I think that's, that was, in my head, what made me think, what can I do to help? I'm trying to get better. I feel that I have a lot to give. I feel that if I put my energy into helping the right people, for the right reasons, maybe I could do okay.
The idea of believing that you are enough and you can do it and everything too. Like, how can we be resilient if we don't think that we can do it? If we don't think we can make our way through? And so this is, over the process of the next 2 years or a year and a half or whatever, it's building that back up, building our self-worth back up to where we can actually believe that we can do this sort of stuff too. It's why we need the resilience.
I have a background in the police force. I'm still a serving member, and I've been in the police force for 43 years. And I've worked with both the state and federal police and overseas. And I being an old school copper, we used to always think you got to catch crooks, but as you learn, you got to get ahead of the game, and you need proactive programs to prevent the crimes in the first place. And Kane has a passion, he has a drive, and he says, I want to do this. I said, okay. He sought out other philanthropic groups for seed money, and it really sort of blossomed from there. It grew on to what it is now. We sort of started off, the Power New project started off with really about 3 people. Kane was a full-time employee and a couple of part-timers. And they were our legacy, our foundation members. And from that's grown from those 3 to about 43 at the moment.
Talking about what you're going through, allowing yourself to ask for support.
Lived experience is huge now. We were so far advanced in as far as lived experience is concerned, because we were lived experience founded. Everything that we deliver is from lived experience. 40% of my staff are lived experience. And the impact that we're having for, on so many people that don't have lived experience, and just from a clinical space is unbelievable. We can reach so many people, and don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer of a collaborative approach. You need to have professionals, alongside with the lived experience, and I think, what we've seen and, the outcomes we've had and what we continue to see is people relate to us because, we're at their level. You know, we're talking to them.
You know, everyone's trying to look like this big bad, you know, tough guy. But really we're all just scared little kids and we don't know how to get out of the situation we've got ourselves into. The fact that someone's able to walk in these doors, you know, and be a grown man and say, look, I need your help, I can't do this on my own again, that's the time we need to strike. Are we here to piss in your pocket and just make you and string you along, or do we actually want to see you get better and we want to help you? We want to be honest with you.
Look, I think the Power in You project is one of those really extraordinary organisations because it has been driven by lived experience, which is really, really important because when you're talking to people, you have that connection, you have that empathy. I think it just adds that extra layer of understanding.
Alcohol and drugs, for us to overcome, is one of the hardest things we'll probably come across to do. It's not about one go and we're done, is it? It's the idea of how many times are we going to try and get into this. So I think it's spot on, mate.
And the fact that they have lived that experience, they know what it's like, they know how people feel, particularly, you know, when they're in the depths of despair. So that focus is really important for community organisations like the Power in You.
I think the Power in You works so well for the simple fact that he'd lived the past. And I've done a lot of drug and alcohol kind of programs where you're talking to people with degrees, not people that have actually lived the lifestyle. So for me, that was a big, big thing. I could talk to him. He wouldn't bring up talking about your past, which was another big thing for me. It was more, wake up today and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm going to do this today, or like self-care and like talk yourself up. And I find it actually helped me tremendously in stepping forward and not stepping back and looking back at my past life.
You know, there's no judgment. You know, the whole organisation is built off, you know, things that went on for me, like horrible decisions that I made, things that I wish that I could take back. You know, but we're not there to judge. You know, because at the end of the day, it's not about the mistakes we make. It's the way we go about fixing them that shows character.
You know, Kane recognises that there's a need to have other people involved. There's a need to have professionals from a variety of ranges across our community. So, you know, that's what's so impressive about the project. Kane knows that it's, you know, he's not going to be able to change the world as much as he would like to, but he relies on other people as well, other professionals, volunteers and supporters to make it all work. And that wraparound support and the understanding that comes with that is quite unique. And yes, we have some amazing services around Geelong, but Power in You was born in Geelong, it was created here, it's been supported by Geelong people, and in particular, Kane, who has that really clear lived experience.
It's not just unique to what other areas do, but he really focuses on a holistic approach. And I think that's a really strong element of the Power in You. And that's what it talks about, Power in You. So they work on ways of getting people in a better state. They do things from cooking classes to art therapy, getting fit, doing things, going for walks. Kane's a very giving person. The staff he's built up around him is a very positive staffing model too, which is what I like, and how they do things. And they deal with some very hard cases too, you know. I mean, in people who have seen a lot, they can be bad, but they can be really had a lot of hurt in their life, and they struggle with them, and but they persevere with them. And I think that's the challenge, and I think that's a strong point in Kane's project. You know, he will not want to give up on anyone.
Well, I had a pretty bad childhood, and I was an alcoholic at 12. And then I was a blackout drinker, and then I was always an alcoholic right through my life. And then I just had a lot of bad stuff happen to me when I was a child, and my way of escaping was drinking. Yeah. What's changed? Well, Kane, he gave me my soul back. I would have been dead years ago. Well, because they've been there and they understand, and it's not from textbooks. It's not through they've been there and done it, and they're so caring and loving and understanding. Always in fear. When I was young and that, but now I feel so alive. It's grouse. You can't explain it. It's hard to explain. No judgment there. And they're real. What you see is what you get. They're real. That's what I love about it. No, it's real.
No, it's one thing that you always feel as a drug user that you're getting judged everywhere. Coming to a group like this, it feels like it's just warming because they've got similar experiences and been there and done similar things. So it's it's good just to have that support where it's they understand what you're going through, sort of thing. Yeah, it's a better understanding on why things have happened, and it's all about choices for me. I've made bad choices at wrong times in my life, so coming to this group's really made me realise that it's not my fault what's happened as a kid, and I don't want to blame anyone, but what I went through, I've gone through, and it's good just to have get help on why I went through or why I'm doing what I'm doing, but if it wasn't for this group telling me that or let me understand that, like today we had a session about, loss and grief and all that, and it's just good little things I'm picking up each time I come here to help me in my life, Yeah, I love the group though.
I was attending another group in town. It was kind of like a day hub program, and it only ran for about 8 weeks and then it finished. And then one of the guys who I went through that program with, I just randomly caught up with him and he's like, look mate, there's this great program. His name's Kane, he's like doing it different, come along. I think the difference was there was no end date. Like every other program I tried, it was, okay, we'll help you for 8 weeks and then you should be better. And I always felt like a failure at the end of it because I'm like, I've done the 8 weeks, I've done the 10 weeks, I've done the program and I'm not better. And they won't help me anymore because I should be better and I'm not. And I think that honestly made things worse because I felt like a failure at the end of it. Whereas the Power in You, no matter how many times you leave and come back, you're always welcome, the same as the first time you were here. Like no matter how many times you feel like you fail, there's always someone here waiting to help you, whether it's been 2 years or 2 days. You can always come back. I overdosed more times than I can count. And if I didn't come here and get the help that I needed and the confidence to go to rehab, I wouldn't be here. Like me and my partner on the weekends, we go to the footy and we hang out with my family and his family, and it's just a normal life that I never thought I was capable of having.
It's nice to see and I know you spoke to Caitlin earlier and she was my participant, and to see her now 5 years clean, and I was with her on the first year, and it's so good to see her doing so well now, and we still chat and have chin wags and stuff, so it's really nice.
My 17-year-old self didn't think I deserved it. And now I realise I do. I do deserve it.
A lot of those people, they're coming out of the prison system and need that additional support. So this is very unique to our community. I'm really proud that we have the benefit of having that in our community, and it's a really important project.
The evidence is there. When people get this holistic support, when they get the wraparound support, there's just, the recidivism drops just significantly. So, if we want to tackle crime, and, it's always a big thing around elections, but really the best way to be tough on crime is through love.
And how important it is to recognise that, a lot of the people who are coming out of our prison system, for example, are doing really well. They're being supported, they're getting work through the support of the project. So I think, the fact that people are not repeat offending, going back into the system is a really positive thing. And, we recently had the Minister for Corrections here on a visit to meet with Kane and his crew there. And he was so impressed with the work that they are doing and their passion and commitment to helping people get their lives back on track and to be able to stay out of the prison system or get jobs or get into housing, just with that general support, that wraparound support and that care that's really important to that project.
The position that I'm in now, I definitely thought I wouldn't be. When I was in prison, it was just very dark and gloomy, and you kind of want to become a better criminal so you can get out and then almost go back in. But I guess with Kane and the Power New, they almost like, I don't know, just wrap around support everywhere, whether it be as a participant now working here, that just everything around me is just like wrap around, and you almost strive to want to be better every day.
It's the idea of we need to be able to figure out different ways that work for us.
The program that I was once in, I now facilitate, which is pretty crazy. My day-to-day work here is a lot of NDIS outreach stuff, and as well as a lot of backing up Matt with the justice clients of the work that he's doing in the prison.
I came in every morning and just walked down, and I just kept ticking boxes whilst being here. Went to study, drugs and alcohol, mental health. Had my first job in support work and disability. This is just to pay some bills, and then I found a real passion in that. So I've been in disability for 6 years now.
Employment for people that are recovering from addiction is extremely important. They need that stability and for someone to, I guess, give them that leg up in support and probably a lot of empathy towards their situation.
Family gives you a purpose, but employment just gives you a lot more stability in life.
Ryan Winter, I took on at Geelong Commercial Waste about 5 years ago. He's had his challenges along the way, but has just thrived under the work conditions we've been able to give him. Has become one of my most loyal workers.
I can't even put it into words. I think it's just not having the struggles of everyday life, not working, trying to find where you're going to find money from. The camaraderie you have between work colleagues, I think, is a massive, massive thing for getting better.
Giving people a chance like Ryan Winter, it's a rewarding role for me to be able to give these guys a chance. No judgment, and the support coming from people who have lived it, walked it, talked it. They get it, they're empathetic. You can make a mistake and they're there to support and keep you on track. It's just the right environment to succeed, I think.
An addiction is like a disease. It's something your body and your mind can't control. You know you're in the wrong, but seeing some of the people, I know some brilliant people that have had beautiful upbringings and they just turn into the lowest of the lows. And I was one of them people, unfortunately. And thanks to all the help from family, work, Power New project, I've actually come out the other side, which I am very, very grateful for, and a lovely partner and daughter who are my whole world.
Yeah, wasn't much later. My second arrest ended up with a short period in prison. 2017, I did 3 months. But I try and provide hope in the employment role now. So, you know, back when I was young, the court ordered drug and alcohol counselling and all the corrections order stuff, you know, sort of didn't resonate with me at all. It's difficult for people from the outside, but at the end of the day, we're all humans. We've all got feelings, and we all deserve, you know, a second go, or we all make. I always said when I was going through addiction, actually, that when I was in high school, I didn't say I wanted to become a drug addict. But there's always a reason why we go down that dark path. If it's trauma, abuse, depression, anxiety, we're always trying to find an outlet to escape from. If you can rectify the traumas and go through that therapy treatment, you probably get rid of all the bad behaviours. So it's easy for the outside to judge unless they've sort of been through it.
Kane, he's run out of the box. It's full bore or not at all with Kane, but you can just see the passion. This is a passion project for him, and I think that's what makes it work. It's the commitment that he shows to helping others is just, it's something special, and that's what, it makes it pretty special.
So many people need support and love and care, and you know, and I have so much of that to offer, you know, probably to the detriment of my own family at times. And you know, I feel that I want to get better at saying no, you know, but the reality is people need us. Like, you know, we go down to the Christchurch breakfast and you've got people shivering like leaves because they're out in the cold. You know, we have around 2,500 people sleeping rough every night in our area, you know, like, you know, and there's so much more that I want to do. But, you know, again, you know, I probably need to understand that I can't do everything without resources, you know, without more support.
Future's looking really good for me, as I said. I don't know where I'll go from here, but everything's looking up. Not looking back on life, everything ahead's a whole new beginning kind of thing, and that's why you've got to view the steps ahead after being in such a rough spot.
Even when I didn't believe it, I would look in the mirror and say, I'm enough. And I thought, fuck, Kane, you're bloody stupid. This isn't going to help. How's this going to help? But now, it's something that myself and my partner do every night. We say one thing we're grateful for, 3 I ams, and something we're proud of. And that's just become our daily routine. And it's not only helped me, but it's helped him too.
From a boy that was going to just do his own thing with no more than 8 clients, well, as you know now, it's just out of control, and it's all his hard work, and he's had good people around him.
I know that Kane's changed a lot of lives, which in a good way, and that's pretty special.
I'm just so glad he got through it all, and I'm so proud of him.
you.